This feels kind of weird. I haven't sat in front of the camera for a really long time. This past week has been like go, go, go. I've been to like 4 parties this week, and that's like probably the most parties I've been to in such a short amount of time in like literally all my life. I've never been a party type of person, but then we moved to the city for my first year of university, and then we were much closer to family. So then we were kind of obligated to go to those parties that they kept hosting. I had such a big headache after. The holidays always make me so tired. But yeah, hi everyone, welcome back to another video. Today is the last day of 2023, which is crazy. Or rather, today, the day I'm filming, is the last day of 2023. I haven't had time to sit in front of a camera because again, this past week has just been like go, go, go. So by the time I post this, it'll be after New Year's, I believe, January 3rd on Wednesday. I'm like trying to speed film right now. I'm hoping to get this out by Wednesday. And then afterwards, either on Saturday or a week later, I'll be posting a video about all the books I read in 2023. I don't think it should be too much. I got back into reading just this year. I don't think I read more than maybe 40 books. I don't know. I haven't actually checked. I'll have to like make a list of it all. But yeah, today I will be talking about my top 10 books of 2023. I think I may or may not have consciously tried to not include the more popular books that came out in 2023. So these are genuinely just me loving these books, not because they became popular this year, but because I just genuinely love them. Some of these rankings might be a bit strange. Some 4 stars do outrank some 5-star. I did rate these based on like the feeling the book gave me, not like the ratings I may have given them in the past. So the enjoyment factor could outrank the wow, this was a perfect book factor, is what I mean, sort of. Okay, shall we get started? So it's gonna go from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, and then all the way up to 1. I'm not really sure there's actually a specific ranking to these. I know I just said some 4 stars outrank some 5 stars, but really, I thought so hard about these rankings, okay? So they're really close, sort of. I am biased towards some. 2023 was a good year in reading for me, I think. Again, this was the year I got back into reading. Before, when I had been a big reader, I don't know, I just got into a big slump for like 2 years. In grade 10, I think it was 10, I just stopped reading for some reason, and then I just didn't pick up a book for the next 2 years until grade 12, where one of my friends had gotten into reading again, and so that kind of just pulled me along, and so we kept recommending each other books. But yeah, I'll stop talking and just get into the list. Okay, at number 10, we have Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which is book 1 in the Renegades trilogy. When I read this, I gave this a 5 out of 5. Most of these books, I can't really remember when I read them. I might have to go back into Goodreads when I do my video on all the books I read in 2023, and I'll just tell you when that video is posted, I guess. The reason this book is on here is because this was basically the book that got me back into reading this year. Yeah, before I had restarted my obsession, I had been in a massive reading slump, as I said, for a couple years until I read this book, and then from then on, I couldn't stop. Also, I just thought this book was really fun. I liked the various powers in this book, the hero and villain sides that were portrayed, and the main couple in this trilogy is so well written too. Minor spoiler alert, it's a secret identity trope, and they don't reveal the identity in the first book, which honestly made me so happy because this was like the first series I read where they don't reveal the identity in the first book, and that honestly made me so happy for some reason. And it's also because slow burn romance is just my favorite, and I don't care what anyone else says. Yeah, so Renegades is basically about this girl named Nova who's on a revenge mission. The heroes in this world are called the Renegades, and they pretty much run the entire government, and Nova is looking to take down the Renegades because of something they did to her in the past. So in order to do that, she infiltrates their base and tries out for the Renegades to uncover all their secrets so she can possibly use those secrets against them, because the Renegades have like, I don't know, I guess this annual tryout thing where they scout out like new talent or something to hire. I love this book. I love the love interest in this book as well, and I love the thrill, and weird enough, the anxiety it slightly gave me reading it, especially the second book. The second book gave me so much anxiety reading it. It's not on this list. I'm trying to like if I pick a book in a series, I'm trying to narrow down which book was my favorite in the series, so you won't see like multiple books in the same series in this video. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. On to the next book. Oh, I actually forgot I put this one here. At number 9, we have Legend, which is book 1 in the Legend trilogy by Marie Lu. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5, and yes, this is technically one of those ones that will rank a 5-star book because of the enjoyment I felt reading it. I don't know, sometimes a good fast-paced story is a nice breather between all the complicated stuff you sometimes read. This also, I guess, reopened the gateway for me to just start reading more dystopian books again. Yeah, very mid 2010s, but I still enjoyed it nonetheless. It's basically about 2 main characters, Day and June. Day is the Republic's most wanted criminal, and June is the Republic's most well-known military prodigy. And one day, a crime against June's family is committed, and Days the prime suspect. And yeah, there's also a secret identity trope in here. I didn't realize I had multiple books with secret identity trope in here, but I guess I just like the trope. Secret identity trope, there's a war going on. I believe there's also a virus they're trying to cure. Yeah, I liked it because there was always something happening. It's not the best story in the world. It's kind of predictable at times, but like Renegades, it was also just really fun to read. I might honestly consider Renegades and Legend to be like basically ranked the same. It's just I had to put one over the other because ranking list, obviously. And also I did read this entire trilogy in 3 to 4 days, which I think says something. Yeah, I don't know. I always love reading dystopian books, and again, this just reopened the gateway for me to go find more old dystopian books that I haven't read yet. So that's mainly the reason why it's in my top 10. Next one, number 8, we have This Is How You Lose the Time War by, I think there's 2 authors did this one. I'm so sorry if I pronounced this first one wrong. Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. I gave this book a 5 out of 5, which I know might be strange to some people considering like the lyrical writing in this book, but I honestly really enjoyed it. Yeah, I just like this book because it was a sapphic romance and because of like the cute letters written in it. We don't see too many like fantasy sci-fi books with sapphic romances in them, so it honestly made me really happy to find this one. And yeah, it is also very lyrical. I had never read something quite this lyrical before, so to me, the first time I had read it, it had been very unique. And it also kind of opened my eyes to more book options, if that makes sense. It is a very small book, like honestly this small or something, but I feel like you go through so much in just 200 pages. Somehow you get very attached to the characters and you feel them bonding through each letter. So this book is basically a sapphic time traveling romance. Yeah, that's really all I can say. I think you really have to push your brain to understand this thing. The poetic lyricaliness does get very hard to understand in some places, but honestly, this honestly just took me to a completely different world, and I think that's why I liked it so much. And again, I know I said this, I really loved the letters. They get to a point where they're sort of flirting with each other in the letters, and I was giggling and kicking my feet in the air the whole time when something like that happened. I don't know, this one obviously, as I said, may be strange for some people to put it in my top 10 and also to give it a 5 stars, but I really liked it, so I don't really care. Next book, number 7, If You Could See the Sun by Anne Liang. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. It's a standalone, kind of magical realism, I believe that's what you call these types of books. Yeah, I just really like the romance in here. The love interest is what everyone wants, okay? Like when he likes you, he only wants you, but not in like a possessive way. He's respectful, cute, not to mention the #1 student in the school, so you know he'll most likely be dependable in the future as well. Oh, and he's also good looking. Can't forget that. Not that I only judge a partner based on their looks, but you know what I mean. This book is about a girl named Alice who goes to this really rich and elite school, but one day her parents tell her they no longer have enough money to keep her in the school, and under all that stress, Alice kind of just turns invisible. Literally, she disappears from view. No one can see her, and because she doesn't have any friends in the school, she goes to the smartest student in the school, besides herself, of course, who might be able to help her. The main love interest, Henry. Yeah, again, this is just on the list because of the romance, and yes, this is enough to get in the top 7 spot, despite it outranking multiple 5 stars. Yeah, I don't care what anyone says, they made me so happy, and yes, things may have gone a little crazy at the end. The plot, I mean, not the main couple, but it all worked out, so it's fine. Yeah, and now I imagine they'll live a long and happy life together. Yeah, anyways, next book. 6 is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I rated this book a 5 out of 5. This was just a really cute and heartwarming story. Cozy fantasy. I cried like happy tears and was smiling throughout this whole thing. Also, Arthur. Freaking love Arthur, man. And speaking of Arthur, I believe there's another book coming out for this in Arthur's perspective, Somewhere Beyond the Sea or something like that. And you have no idea how excited I am. The love story in this is really cute. It's so slow burn. It's just them warming up to each other, but my cheeks honestly hurt from all the smiling I did after finishing this book. This book is about a caseworker named Linus Baker who is sent to an orphanage for magical children to like work. Basically, by the end of his stay, he decides whether the orphanage should be kept or shut down. Linus is very stuck up in the beginning. Very business type, but he's also very unbiased, which is what the higher ups like about him, so that's why they sent him in the first place. But yeah, the whole book is also just about him warming up to all the children, and again, me smiling the whole time like an idiot. It just felt so sunshiny and made me so happy. And again, Arthur, the love of my life, not in a romantic way because he belongs to Linus and I will not have it any other way. And yeah, very cozy fantasy, cute and makes you happy. That's pretty much it. Next book, we are getting into the top 5. At number 5, we have Have a Soul, which is book 1 in the Regency Fairy Tale series by Olivia Atwater. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. Another one that outranks a lot of 5 stars, and it's in the top 5. I just put it here because it got me out of like a major reading slump, and also because I love the romance with all my heart and still go back to read scenes in this book. Like if I go back to reread scenes in a book, you know I absolutely fell in love with it, which is basically all the books on this list pretty much. This book is about a girl named Dora who lost half of her soul to, I believe, some sort of fairy king, fairy lord, something like that. Pretty much all I can say about like the premise of the entire book. It's a cozy fantasy, does get a bit crazy near the ending, but the ending's not why I put it here anyway. The reason I put it here is because the main love interest, Elias, fell madly in love with Dora, and you could absolutely tell. The ballroom dancing scene. I was kicking my feet in the air so hard. I swear to God, I could have gone flying like a helicopter. They still make me so happy. I want a fairy tale romance like they're so badly. Sadly, reality's way too disappointing. Dora's the only one who really challenges him in the beginning because most of her emotions got taken away when half of her soul got taken away. So Elias is kind of baffled by her comebacks when she first talks to him because he's this really well-known magician or mage or whatever and known to be really cold, so normally no one ever talks to him. And the fact she's pretty much the only one who can calm him down, I know those things are so common in other books, but this one just hit different for some reason. Have a soul, go read it, please. On to the next book. Oh god, my feet are falling asleep. Number 4, She Gets the Girl by Rachel Lippincott and Alison Derrick. 5 out of 5. I'm just realizing this now, but most of these books made it on this list because they just made me extremely happy. And I keep having to pause a lot because I can hear footsteps upstairs. So sorry if you can hear that. Yeah, this book was so cute. It's pretty much like a comfort read for me. I go back to read scenes in this book all the time. It's a sapphic college romance. 2 main characters. Molly is really close to her family but also really shy, socially awkward, doesn't know how to talk to people, and then Alex, the second main character, is very social, knows how to talk to people, but also has a difficult home life, a difficult relationship with her mom. So one day, Alex and Molly obviously cross paths, and now I can hear my brother screaming. That's great. Yeah, so one day they cross paths. Alex agrees to help Molly get a date with her crush if Molly puts in a good word for Alex to Alex's ex-girlfriend who broke up with her right before she went off to college. The ending is pretty obvious, I think, from like the title of the book. And also romances are just really obvious to begin with. My favorite scene in this book is when Molly and Alex have planned to spend a day together making food, and Alex comes over to Molly's brother's house. But yeah, she's on Molly's brother's doorstep. Sounds so weird to say. And Molly answers the door and is all like, "It's 2 of your favorite things, eating and hanging out with me." Honestly died when I read that. Like on the inside, physically collapsed. It just made me so happy, and yet it's so not important to the plot whatsoever. They're flirting with each other. And the fact that Molly said that line, it means she was comfortable enough with Alex to start flirting with her. But yeah, the main couple is really cute. They make me extremely happy. That's why it's in the top 4. Next book. We are coming down to the top 3. Number 3, Skyward by Brandon Sanderson, which is book 1 in the Skyward series. 5 out of 5. I've complained about book 2 and book 3 in the Skyward series ever since I started this channel, but I'm not sure I've ever raved about the first book to the full extent of my feelings. This was also one of the books that got me back into reading this year. Probably won't put up the receipts because there's a lot of swear words in them, but I was texting my friend after I finished this first book and was all like, holy S word, this was so effing good. Sorry, I try not to swear on this channel as much as I can. My heart was racing during all of the action scenes in this book, like you have no clue. Also, the fact that I hated Sansa, the main character, in the beginning and then grew to like her by the end of the book. Expert writing right there. She genuinely grew as a person in just this one book, and I was here for it because honestly, if I don't like my main character, then I don't like reading the book, but thank God I grew to love her by the end. Oh, right, I've said this many times. Basically, this book is about humanity being trapped on this planet because they're almost extinct, and they're forced to become pilots because aliens are just constantly attacking them on this planet. Fensa is an outcast in this world, which is kind of preventing her from becoming a pilot until one day she's given a chance to become what she's always dreamed of becoming when she finds this like AI ship that can talk. Yeah, this ship was really weird, but other than the ship, I loved everything else. It was actually pretty realistic if this existed in the world. There was actually so much death in the fight scenes, more than you'd expect in a young adult book, because you know, most of the time the characters have like plot armor, but people actually died. I know I shouldn't sound as happy as I sound about that, but I was genuinely surprised. Like, explosion, death here, pew pew, 2 more deaths there. That's also maybe another reason why I liked it. I think Brandon Sanderson spared no one, even if they maybe could have been our favorite characters later on. Not to mention, I had like an adrenaline rush after this, heart pounding out of my chest. Again, texting my friends, swearing my head off. I think this is the first time I was looking forward to the action scenes in a book over the romance, and I love my subplot romances. This one had a good subplot romance in the first book. The second and third one, I'm not gonna go there because I'm only supposed to be talking about this first one in this video. That's pretty much it. Next book, number 2, Blue Lily, Lily Blue, which is book 3 in the Raven Cycle by Maggie Stiefvater. 5 out of 5. Yeah, I really wanted to put all the Raven Cycle books on this list, but I narrowed it down to just one so I could give you guys a bit more variety on this list. The intensity of this book compared to the first 2 books in the series shot past the Earth's atmosphere, honestly. Again, adrenaline rush. This is where things started to feel real in these books. Tragic things start happening to pretty much everyone. I was seriously afraid for all of their lives because you don't know if something is actually going to happen to them later on. The world started turning into chaos and I loved it. Yeah, I'm seriously trying to avoid spoilers here because it is the 3rd book in the series. The entire series is pretty much about 5-ish. Don't pay attention to the ish part. Kids trying to find a Welsh king, also known as the Raven King. I know that's kind of like a vague description, but seriously, read this series. After you finish all 4 books, it feels like the end of such a long journey. I was kind of just lazing around like a blob afterwards and thinking, what the hell do I do now? I was just marinating in my own afterthought of the entire Raven Cycle. The subplot romance. I cannot go past this book without talking about the subplot romance in these books. The romance was romancing in the 3rd book. The type of subplot romance where I was kicking my feet in the air, like all these books on my top 10 list, but this hit different. Also so slow burn. I was eating every single one of their scenes up, and this one couple in here you may slightly expect in the beginning, but then when it happens you're like, whoa, it actually happened, but you're happy about it anyways. There's probably so much I can say about this book, but again, it's the 3rd one in the series, so I don't want to spoil. Not to plug myself here, but I did make an entire video about the Raven Cycle, so you can go watch that if you want to, if you want like more detail about the entire series. Okay, and last but not least, we have the cherry on top, the final book, ladies and gentlemen. One you probably won't expect at all if you know me. In the number 1 spot, we have Letters to the Lost by Bridget Kemmerer, which is technically book 1 in a series. 5 out of 5, of course. Probably even 6 out of 5. Infinity out of 5. Yes, a romance made it to the top of my top 10 list. Very surprising. Like, I'm not even being sarcastic right now. If you know me, you'll know I normally don't like reading romance books, like the genre. I like subplot romances in fantasy books, but a romance book, I cannot. Except for She Gets the Girl by Rachel Lippincott, obviously, and Alison Derrick. But this one, I finished the book and was like, wait, I'm already done. I wanted there to be more book. Not because I didn't like the ending, because I wanted to read more of it, if you get what I mean. Besides the majority of the books on this list, it's so rare for me to find a book that I just never want to end. Oh, and I keep forgetting since I got to the top 3 books to explain what they're about because I love them that much. This book is about 2 main characters who each lost a family member, and they kind of just start writing letters to each other because of that connection. I love letters in a book. I love reading all their letters in this book. Like, obviously there's an identity reveal because they don't know who they're writing to at first. So when they stopped writing letters after they found out who each other was, they were like, I'm glad it's you, but I'll miss the anonymous letter writing as well. And it's kind of like once they discover each other, you get the same feeling they got, that it was the beginning but also the end of something. Cheesy as that sounds. You can tell they grew to love each other so much without ever knowing what the other looked like. It's kind of like they fell in love with the person rather than their appearance just by reading each other's letters. And also they saved each other in a way that no one else could save them because no one understood what they were feeling until they found each other through the letters. And I think that's why it felt so much more emotional. Like, I was happy, but I also just wanted to jump into the book and give each of them a giant hug. I love them both so much. I felt the sadness they felt, but also their growth as people together and their relationship together made me so happy. Oh, and there were things besides the romance that I liked in this book. Like, they improved their relationship with their parents, and also there was kind of like a small mystery aspect to this book near the end. It just made the book that much more interesting. Honestly, I know Bridget Kemmerer is known as a fantasy author, but to me, she's the best contemporary romance author. But yeah, I think that's going to be all. I loved every single one of these books. 2023 was a very good year for reading, especially since I just got back into it this year. But yeah, I loved every single one of these books for very similar reasons, but also for completely different reasons too. I hope some of you give these books a try, especially the top 3. And yeah, that's going to be it. Hope you enjoyed and hope to see you in the next video. I don't know why I say I hope to see you in the next video. Obviously, I'm gonna be here filming. I don't know where I came up with that. Oh, and also, since this is gonna be posted after the new year, Happy New Year. Hope you all had a great year this year, 2023. Definitely went by really quickly, I feel like. I hope 2024 will be good for you guys. And I don't know, let me know down in the comments what your favorite book was this year. Or maybe top 3 books. Maybe what your favorite top 3 books were, and maybe a New Year's resolution. I don't know. I don't think I really have any. My goal this year is to read 50 to 100 books possibly, because I just got back into reading this year, so I hope I can maybe reach 50 books. I don't actually know if I reached 50 books this year, but I'll let you know once I post my video for all the books I read in 2023. Yeah, I'll see you guys. Bye.